Good evening and welcome to the Mercure City of Perth Masters 2018. And feature game for this evening is Team Walstad against Team Retornaz of Italy.
Yeah, I think, hi Kenny, it's Mary Milne here with you for this late afternoon draw. And we've got Kenny Edwards in for his first game of the weekend, so we're very glad to see you, Kenny, and have you here. You'll be able to take charge because I'm only here just to make up the numbers. But I think for this A-Road semi-final, Team Walstad were the finalists last year, so that's maybe not unexpected. But Retornaz has had a great season so far.
Yeah, Team Walstad, there we see it having an okay season on the tour. Would have liked to have maybe seen themselves at maybe a European Championships or possibly challenging for the Olympics, but that wasn't to be because of the successful outcome of Team Walstad at the European Championships.
That's right. They're a difficult outfit to nudge over out of the way, but Walstad are certainly knocking on the door in Norway there, aren't they? They're certainly right nipping at the heels of Team Walstad.
Yes, absolutely, and I fully expect them to take over the mantle of the Norwegian side after the Olympic cycle.
Yeah, I think so. I think Thomas and the crew have made no kind of secret of that they're maybe thinking that this is the last one.
Yeah, certainly. But Joe Retornaz and his Italian side here just trying to draw the shot challenge to determine last stone in the first end. It's certainly a lot better than the toss of the coin, where who determines gets last stone.
Well, it's good, isn't it? It gives one of the players, usually the skip, the chance to throw a couple of draws and just get the feel of the ice, and it lets the sweepers watch a couple of stones coming down, which lets them get their eye in, and everybody just maybe starts off a little more comfortable than going on cold. So we can hope that sometimes it results in an attacking first end, but we found in the last draw, our game that we were covering was still a pretty defensive couple of ends, so it takes a little bit of time perhaps, but I think both these teams will be keen to get going from the first end.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of stones in play, quite aggressive style. This is the last game of the evening, so it's not as if they're going to have to go back on the ice should they win or should they lose, so they'll leave everything out there this evening.
Yeah, they can, as you say, they can sweep with abandon, knowing that they're getting a rest till tomorrow, and it's a big, it's worthwhile winning this one, isn't it? I mean, obviously in an A-Road you want to stay in the A-Road, but there's a big prize to get your A-Road semi and just have the A-Road final tomorrow. Gives them a longer lie, lets them just keep a couple more options in the bag, doesn't it? You know, once you slip into the B road, and then the earlier, or if you're going to go into B road, you're as well almost to go in early enough in the tournament to give yourself time to play into it. But tomorrow it very quickly becomes B road semis and then C road finals, and although you've got the two chances, they're quite quick to come at you, aren't they? If you drop a game now,
they certainly are. I mean, I think you really, if you're going to lose any game at all, you're probably going to want to lose your first one. That's where you want to lose it. So
they're a very professional looking outfit. I mean, both teams are probably nigh on professional, you would think now. They've been certainly playing a lot of curling and touring about and spending a lot of time away from home. So
yeah, the young Italian side are pretty much full time. The Norwegians, again, they still have part-time jobs on the side, but I fully expect both these sides for the next Olympic cycle to be full-time. Curling there's so much money involved because of the Olympic medals now. I think we'll see both, not just both these sides. Sorry, I think pretty much every team that's going to be at the Olympics will be full-time curlers.
Full-time curling, yeah. I mean, there's it's not long now till the Olympics. Obviously, they'll be setting off, I should say, for holding camps and practice. I would have thought another couple of weeks, getting themselves prepared so that the jet lag's sorted out, they're acclimatised, and they're all good to go when the heat of the battle starts. But yeah, I mean, it's a big commitment, isn't it? You know, when we were playing kind of for fun, and you know, you had your job, and now it's a huge commitment to take on a professional sporting career.
Absolutely, you've got to put your life on hold for a number of years. These guys are on the ice pretty much every day, in the gym, travelling the world, so there's not really much time for socialising back home.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy who you're playing with. You know, I think you see that the teams that have been able to stay together for a number of years and get the great team cohesion. I mean, Ulsrud and the boys are a testament to that, aren't they? They're successful, and they've continued to be successful all these years. They've been playing together, and a stable outfit is really a lot. You know, it's worth its weight in gold, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. So just playing the final draw to determine who gets this last stone.
We were finding in the earlier draws that there was quite a difference between the first practice throw and then the actual throw. It was, even with one stone coming down, the path was speeding up quite a lot. So quite often we were seeing a 4-foot practice draw become a back 8-foot real-time draw.
Yeah, so there we see that one just back of the 4-foot. So it will be the Norwegians who have last stone advantage. Just a reminder, these games are on the time clocks, 32 minutes they have, and also 8 ends, something that we don't see at the Europeans, Worlds or Olympics. They're all 10 ends, and I personally think the 8-end game is probably the way the game will go, because it's a lot shorter and it really forces you to go after the game early on.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm old school, I suppose, and I think it's a different game. It's an entirely different game, the 10 and the 8 ends. And I think when the time clocks moved to thinking time, that was a really good improvement. I think, you know, when it was the playing time that was monitored, it really meant that you were always going to get this couple of ends of just straightforward hitting. But the thinking time kind of means that you can go after it all the way through. But you're right, I think we'll end up at 8 ends. It's probably for television, it's for letting more teams into competitions so they don't have to last quite so long. So anyway, enough of me, we're underway.
Yeah, so Daniel Ferreras for Italy and the Retornaz team. This team will represent Italy at the Olympics. Made that spot by qualifying through the qualification event in Pilsen just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I guess there wasn't an Italian representation at the last Olympics, was there, Kenny?
I don't believe so, no. I
can't think so. I think this is that's a really big achievement, and well done to Retornaz and his team for getting there. It's a huge thing, a huge deal. As we were saying, Olympic medals, you know, the sport, there's a lot of money when it's an Olympic event, and they've probably put themselves in a position to have good funding maybe from their governments now and their sporting associations. So yeah, it's quite a thing.
Yeah, so that draw from the Italians just running into the top of the 8-foot, and Norway just playing the hit. And now the Italians just going to look to replace this. Not want to get too involved early on in the game.
No, I think we'd hoped for maybe a guard in the first end, but I guess they want to settle down. They've both had a game off and just let themselves settle back into the things. So I think we'll get there with guards and a more aggressive game, but this first end certainly looks like it's going to be a little bit more straightforward of nose hits and perhaps try and move things about a little bit in the house. But at the moment both teams will be quite happy, although this one now looks like it might roll out. Yeah, they're going to lose that one, so in all likelihood Italy will perhaps replace it in the top of the house anyway.
Andrea Pilser for Team Retornaz.
Yeah, the sweepers are having to give this a little bit of assistance there. They're obviously looking for it to draw a touch, and they're fairly comfortable that it's going right where they wanted it, and they've decided to go with the guard. So that's good. But of course now they're not free guards, so Walstad can choose to peel this one out if he desires.
Magnus Negrotten for Norway, just peeling that centre guard off. And the reason to peel the centre guard off is because when you've got last stone, you really want the centre open. And when you've not got last stone, you want to clutter that centre area up close to that centre line as possible and make it very difficult for the opposition to get one in there.
Yeah, absolutely. The Italians seem to be they have to really throw a guard if they want to try and make anything out of this end, force things to happen. They have to try this guarding tactic. Throwing it into the house is really just playing right into Walstad's hands, isn't it? So I wouldn't expect to see a fresh of these peels, but you never know. Sometimes the ice can move a little bit more than they expected, or they can get a wee soft handle, or indeed a wee something a little bit further out or wider than they expect. So you've got to force the issue, I think.
Yeah, what we have seen is a lot of curl in this game so far. The ice looks to be moving quite enough to get quite tight to the house with your guards and swing round in behind.
Yeah, absolutely. The earlier games we've been seeing that a long guard, anything any further than 3-4 feet out, you can come round at any weight, hack weight, even almost up to barrier, and still remove the shot in behind the guard. So the guard placement is crucial, and the ice has been really good. The pool is quite late, but once it starts to go, then it's really a pretty good draw, and we had a number in the last end that were catching guards that wasn't when they didn't expect, just because the draw was catching them out a little. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops and see how the ice is standing up. There's been a lot of stones thrown so far, so the ice boys, Paul Martin and his team, have been working hard to make sure that they keep the ice as consistent as possible throughout all the draws.
Yeah, you see the time clock's up on the left-hand side of the shot. As we take a look at Magnus Højberg. He himself a very accomplished skip. Skipped his own team to bronze medal at the World Juniors here in Perth.
Yeah, that was a few years ago now, but yeah, they're a very experienced team, although they're still relatively young. Out of juniors obviously now, but by a long way, and they played the university games last year. Watched them play out there, and they lost to our own Bruce Mowat and his team in the final. So that was, they have a lot of experience of playing in these championships. Even though Ulsrud has kept them at bay a little in Norwegian terms, but they've travelled and they've played in big competitions. So they're very accomplished as a team and in their own right, as you're saying.
Yeah, so both these teams playing for the right to go into that A-Road final. That will be against Kyle Smith or Peter de Cruz. So even if you win this game, it's not as if you're going to win to move on to an easy game.
Oh no, absolutely. But when is the A-Road final tomorrow then, Kenny?
The A-Road final tomorrow is at 11:15.
Okay, yeah. And then the winner of that, of course, has the rest of the day off, and they don't play again till Sunday.
Sunday morning quarter-final, yep.
So that's a big prize, but yeah, both teams will be trying to focus on this game and not get too far ahead of themselves, I guess. We'll try and keep the viewers and listeners updated with what's happening in the other A-Road semi, but it's not actually started yet. They were a little bit slower in getting that game going, so a couple of the games in the last session ran over a little bit, and so the sheets A, B and C were being prepared, and quite rightly they let the other half of the sheets start, but the other three games are just going on, so we'll keep you updated with any scores that we can spot out there that might be of interest.
Yeah, that's the big benefit of running these time clocks. Games don't tend to drag on as much. So we're already closing out the first end, and the other semi-final, A-Road semi-final is still to get underway.
I guess they'll be first to the dinner, bags in the best table in the house, and making sure that their order is taken. The dinner held down at the Mercure Hotel, isn't it? There's been one of the title sponsors for a long time.
Yeah, it sure has, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Really great to see that they're supporting this event. Not just the Mercure, though, there's plenty of other sponsors that help make this fantastic event happen.
Absolutely.
We
We were saying earlier, you know, it's been such a successful event. It comes at a great time in the season, and every year with teams wanting to prepare for their championships, but for this year, particularly with the timing with the Olympics happening so soon on the back of this, it gives those 7 Olympic teams that we have here the chance to tighten up and really kind of get match fit and get championship fit. Well, that's the first end completed with a blank, so we get started in the second end with Italy throwing first again, and we'll see if they choose to come into the house or whether they go with the guard straight off the bat.
Yeah, so straight away into the second end. It's Team Retornaz, the Italians, playing Yellowstones. This time electing to play the out turn down the left hand side of the sheet, so an out turn is a counter-clockwise rotation for a right-handed player. Dropping that one onto the button. And will he move it or will he throw the guard?
I think he'll guard.
Yep. So they just, there you hear it. Does the commentary for us.
I know, it's a treat to have the players mic'd up though, isn't it? And you know, you can hear the discussion. There's so much communication now between all the players. We were finding that in earlier draws that we talked about it last night, Robbie and I, that, you know, previous years the front end were paid to sweep and not to really give their opinion too often, but now it's a four member team. Decisions are made by all the players, and quite right too, quite rightly so.
Yeah.
But this is that's certainly not what they were expecting. That's quite a bit heavier than they were looking for.
Yeah, certainly. Just drifting to the back 12.
Yeah, I don't think potentially maybe neither of these stones will be counting by the end of the end, but they're certainly, it's not the start that Team Norway or Walstad would have been looking for, with a guard coming so far into the house.
So now electing to play the takeout on the centre one and roll across to the yellow on the left as we look at this shot. Yeah,
they're still even with the perfect roll, there'll be a bit of separation between those stones, won't there, Kenny? So
Yeah.
Team Retornaz will have the opportunity to move the Norwegian stone without potentially losing their own back counter. That's drawn a lot more than they expected too, so.
Yeah, very controlled, quiet weight though. That's the key with that shot was to make sure you keep your shooting stone, and stone that you're playing in play. If you roll out, then it gives the opportunity for the Italians to really split the house, and then you're chasing the game.
Absolutely, it's nice when you see the down weights being played even on an open shot like that, because it lets the team learn how much the ice is moving, how much they can control it with the sweeping. Obviously they can hold it a little bit straighter, they can encourage it to bend even if needs be at that weight. But you throw a harder weight, there's not an awful lot that your sweepers can help with. They can obviously keep it straightish, but it's much more involved, isn't it, when you play the down weight? It's more controllable.
Yeah, so now they've been forced to try and chase. Yeah, I like this call. They've got the split in the house. Why play the hit?
Yeah. They're I guess they're you play the freeze now, you're kind of showing your hand for the rest of the end, aren't you? You're putting all your eggs in the basket of having to score, where now they're hoping that they can get a hit and roll over, bring play over closer to the other Italian stone, and maybe at some point get a double. But that again is another mistake, because they hit on the wrong side of the stone, really, didn't they there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why the draw, you've got a lot of room for error. You throw that even a foot short of it, half check it, they've got to hit and stay. If they hit and run with it, then you just peel the back one. Yeah.
It's always, we always kind of try to do the simple stuff. If you play your, make your simple, or keep your game as simple as you can, and force the opposition to play the more technical shots. But now they're basically, it's a free hand to Italy, and to just give them an open draw. They're allowing the team to get a feel for the ice. They're all going to get their draw weight potentially. You want to really be forcing more from your opposition than a straightforward draw to the house.
Yeah, they're really dictating the play.
And they're now asking the Norwegians to make the hit and roll, which we showed by their last stone. It's not always easy to hit the stone exactly where you want to when the ice is swinging a little bit more, or you try and compensate by that by upping your weight. And yeah, they're not in a comfortable situation just quite yet, Team Walstad.
So it does make the hit roll into the 8 foot, that white area, and does reduce the gap between the two stones.
Yeah, they possibly would have wanted a little more roll there, wouldn't they? But they got the right side of the stone that time. They were closer to getting exactly what they wanted, and yeah, now Italy have a smaller margin for the roll back outwards, so they're going to hope that they maybe over roll, or even a nose hit would help Norway at this stage.
Whoa!
Quite a bit more weight being played here, I would say.
Whoa! Yeah!
Yeah, so double's just about there.
The angle's certainly getting better all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just working the way up the house. I'd probably be tempted just to throw a control weight at this. Hit this one just ever so slightly inside, and roll to the centre line.
Even if they can, they make the roll, they're not necessarily going to chase the double at this point, but if they can roll over in front of that other Italian counter, then that makes it more difficult for it to be removed cleanly. But it's possibly a little more weight than he maybe was hoping for.
Yes, big weight, makes a nice hit and roll though.
Yeah. I think they're going to need to get more, make more of these shots. I would have said that was probably a half shot. They're definitely going to be looking to make 3/4 to 100% on these shots before they're going to trouble Italy too much. This is still a fairly open shot for the Italians.
Clean. Yep. Whoa, whoa. Oh, yep. Hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And they're quite happy that the supers can manage it there with a little. They've got the roll. Potentially rolled a little further than they would have wanted, but it's still counting. So
yeah, certainly playing with fire there, just rolling away right to the edge.
Yeah.
So now Walstad and Norway will have to play the freeze.
Yeah, I think so. And this is a tricky shot in the second end when you played out the first end at hit weight.
Yeah, even though, Mari, if you just throw this one up top of the 8 foot, anywhere in front of the stone, make it difficult for them.
Yeah, and I guess that's what they've got to be thinking. They have, you know, he can't be sitting in the hack saying I've got to make this inch perfect and putting pressure on himself. He's throwing a T-line draw that the sweepers can make perfect, you know. And they are having to work a little bit on it this time, but they're needing it to draw a little. Weight seems to be all there. Yeah, we've got the weight right, but the line just slightly big, and potentially that wee sweep at the beginning wasn't required. So they've drawn alongside the yellow, but I don't think Italy will take too long to decide to try and get rid of this one and roll back towards the centre, or maybe they might be happy to run.
Yeah, I think you play the run with this one, Barry. If you nose hit, you're leaving a big area. Just nudge
absolutely.
it back.
Certainly, the nose hit would be their least, I guess, next door to the fresh. But they don't want to nose this and leave a pocket for the draw to come down from Norway and sit right in there.
Hide.
Well, the brushes are on it straight away, Kenny. They must be thinking that it's maybe a slightly soft handle there, or even just steering it towards the stone a little. But this is a long way from. Yeah, that was a long way from what they were looking for.
Very soft release there, Mari.
Yeah.
Just when we talk about soft release, just wasn't positive enough with the handle. Just allowed the stone to really go where the stone wanted it to go.
Yeah, on the curling ice, you know, we said earlier you're getting a lot of movement anyway, but if you don't put on a positive release, then you've got no hope really of holding the stone on the line that you expect. It's gonna take the action much quicker and go a lot more than you expect. So that was exactly what happened there. They hit a full stone inside, a stone and a half probably inside where they wanted to hit. So advantage back to Walstad to now lie to and put Joel under a little bit of pressure with his stones.
Yeah, probably just wanting this on the nose would be okay. The double and stay is really hard then.
Yeah, I think the angles would be tough then.
Rent. Yep. Hard.
They're still going to want to get away with either, you know, they want to score 2 or blank at this stage, don't they? They're, wow, that's that was about the worst. A clean fresh would have been better than that. They've put the stone exactly where Italy would have drawn it to be had they had the choice. So yeah, we've seen a couple of uncharacteristic errors here in the first couple of ends.
Yeah, just shy of fully top 8 foot would be perfect for me.
Yeah, make the angles difficult, and it's certainly looking like Walstad will be forced to a 1 here.
Yeah, probably going to be drawn against 2.
Yeah, he threw a good draw with his draw for last stone, but the last end was a couple of hits, so the ice will have keened up I would have thought quite a bit from when he threw for last stone advantage. So they'll have to take that into consideration. But the sweepers will be on top of that. They'll have been taking their timings and splits, and they'll know exactly what they want from him. So I guess Italy have to put it in the right place. So this is looking a bit steamy.
Yeah, certainly not short of weight.
They really need it to stop. But to be fair, it's not. It maybe makes the draw easier. He's got something, or he might go for the hit. But yeah, that didn't put the amount of pressure on this last stone that he really wanted to do. Fairly straightforward for Stefan here. Although we saw his last hit didn't work out as he anticipated. So we could see a hit and run here, but in all likelihood it's more likely to be the hit on the nose to score the one.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for. So final stone of this second end.
I certainly don't want to be sweeping that.
Can't afford to jam the yellow onto the other one.
It's beginning to move now though, Kenny. It's come across the centre line quite nicely there, and yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, so a single point for Walstad in this second end means they now lead 1-0.
Not what they would have hoped for at the beginning of the end, but halfway through the end they were looking like that was the best they could hope for. So they'll be reasonably happy to have had a straightforward shot there to make their one and get on the board.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Italians can do with last stone advantage now.
Yeah, they made some solid draws in that end, and it was just unfortunate that the one hit that was wildly offline, really, wasn't it, that kind of changed things around a little. And we can update on the other semi-final. Team Smith has taken a 2 in the first end against the Crew, so I didn't see how it transpired. I'm sure it was probably a shot for 2 rather than a shot for 3 that failed to give the 2, so they'll be quite happy, I should imagine, with their start there. We're underway with Magnus here throwing the first stone, and the sweepers are on it early. They'll certainly look to be playing the guard.
Yes, a nice
stone.
Yes, nice stone placement. Yeah, maybe a couple of feet more.
Yeah, there'll be the opportunity for them to draw around that, but equally there'll be the opportunity for the Italians to come round there if they need to, or either team if they need to at back ring weight to tap things back. And but it's almost where they would have chosen for it to be, so they'd be quite happy. Italy having to have chosen to come round rather than to throw their own corner, so they must think it's a good enough guard. They're looking for a big draw at the end here, which they're getting, and got nice weight there in front of the tee. It's a lot of ice, isn't it, Kenny?
It's, but there's no prizes for catching the guard here. They don't have last stone, so they can't afford to catch that centre guard. That's their saviour.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to make sure, but they saw that draw from Italy struggling just to come right over to the centre line. So if you're throwing enough weight to play the tap, I think that it was potentially a little too much ice.
A little too much weight also. Just right past it. didn't call it either. They did actually just catch the side of it. They really needed to cut beyond that. Just a little bit of lapse in concentration, really.
Yeah, if it wasn't plan A, so they should have made sure that they were getting plan B to come round behind without nudging that yellow any further in behind the guard. But this is right out there as well. They're using that one sweeper option, but now they're obviously thinking that it's drawing enough, or perhaps they're taking it past to sit on the back yellow, the back red. But this is a little bit it's one of those. It's kind of stuck in the middle, isn't it? It wasn't what they wanted, and it didn't have the weight to go behind it. So they've left an opportunity again for Norway, I think, just to play that nice wee tap and roll.
Yeah, I think just the control, push the yellow through and sit on top of the yellow that's in behind the guard. Nothing too heavy. Not giving too much ice for Magnus Legraden. This one, well tight for line, having to go hard on the swooping.
Yeah, they're working hard on this, aren't they? They seem to be holding it quite well, but now, as it comes past the hog line, it's moving a lot. But no, they've swept that well.
Just rolled a little bit too far into the open.
He's thinking, I'm pretty sure I laid it well, so. But there was no apology from Stefan to say that it was too little ice, so we've got to assume that it maybe wasn't right out to the brush. Italy would be quite happy to hit this one and get in behind their own shot there behind the guard, I think. Andrea playing it's quite a firm weight there, isn't it? It looks like a kind of easy take-out weight, maybe not full take-out, but okay, I've elected to go out the way with it.
Well, it's decision time now for Norway. Did they take out on the outside yellow, or did they?
I'm almost surprised he's not running the red guard in. Really, I would have thought that there would have been a chance to play that on, open things up a little. Does he want it opened up though? I guess not. He's maybe quite happy still with the situation that there's a bit of cover there. If he gets rid of one of these yellow counters, he can still come after the centre one.
Yeah, certainly. I think play the hit with this. We're still in the second stones. Look for a hit and roll, or maybe a better opportunity. They nose, another nose, the double's there. So. Yeah.
Sweepers were commenting that it was maybe a little bit less weight than Stefan had been looking for, but they've held it. They've got two in the house, but the two in the back ring are not. They're not really where they want them. Gives Italy the opportunity to come right round again.
Yeah, what you would see is a lot of teams maybe just hitting the back one. I quite like this call, in and around.
Yeah, it shows they're confident. That they're happy with that they're going to make these shots. I think it'd be quite a defensive call, wouldn't it, to hit one in the back ring? They shouldn't come into play at the end of the end to count them. Sweeper's working hard and then called off, but it's fully there for weight, I think, isn't it?
Just sat on the outside there, so.
Yeah, just caught again in that in-between kind of area. They were too heavy for the draw, but it had taken enough of a draw that they couldn't get it past and onto that back one.
Yeah, should be able to play sort of hack weight maybe, push the yellow through in between the two reds and just sit corner frozen on the other one.
Yeah, it's a tricky shot for Marcus Weiberg here. It's definitely a technical shot, we would say. He's got to He's got to be right weight, right line, and the sweepers will play their part. But this is clearly high of line at the moment anyway. And that was, yeah, he wanted to be on the inside of there for sure, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were going to jam it on either of those back reds, you wanted it to be the one on the right hand side as we're looking at it now, and this is very much advantage Italy. Italy have got last stone in their line 2, with the chance of line 3 here, albeit they're on the centre line and not perhaps where they would ideally want them with last stone, but they're not going to put them back and ask for a re-rack yet, that's for sure.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Again, though, the sweepers are being called off this. This is potentially hitting the high side.
Well, they've given the favour pretty much back.
I don't think he needed to throw so much weight at that, did he, Kenny?
I don't think so. But what he has done is he's left it in a position that running the yellow into the other yellow might spring the yellow that's in the 8 foot back onto the red in 12.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, because that's the shot they're going after, aren't they?
Yeah, just if the stone takes the handle, it should spring out over the top of the red, as long as it doesn't hit it full in the face.
It's not going to give them the chance of coming in behind the cover, that's for sure, the way that they're wanting to play this. So Italy, oof, that's that 4 foot line's just catching them out, isn't it? It's just not pulling as much as they're expecting.
Yeah, as you well know, the Perth lies down that 4 foot, just outside the 4 foot track. It's a very difficult line.
Yeah, it's famous.
Yes,
it's infamous.
It's all to do with the weight. If you give it a chance, it will curl very nicely. If you don't, it will run straight.
It'll hold the line. Once it comes off the line, there's absolutely no problem, but it is just a case of that it wants to hold that line if you give it any encouragement to do so. If you back the handle on a little bit, or as we're saying, if you throw a little more weight than is needed, then that's the result you're going to get, and that's what we've seen from 3 stones now. So it's time they kind of cottoned on to that. They've all been here before and played this ice, and as we say, it's the same year in, year out.
Well, having to go hard on this one, should get a piece though.
Yeah, it's they passed the guard there actually quite easily. The danger with that, when the skip or the player acting as skip in the head comes out to help sweeping, you lose all you're all battling on, sweeping away, and you can pull it too far. You can actually, they've almost pulled it too far out the other side of the guard, or if they'd slipped behind the tee there, that would have really been advantage Walstad again. So sometimes you're happier as a sweeper if your third player or skip stays in the head and just encourages you rather than coming out to help.
Yeah, certainly can get in the way and cause probably more damage than assistance.
I think the sweeping tests have shown that third brush probably isn't doing an awful lot of good anyway.
No.
If most teams are happy to go with one sweeper now, then certainly is the third one really doing any good, rather than, as you say, just getting in the way.
So skip stones, Stefan Walstad.
Well, it's certainly it's going to pass the guard by quite a bit, but
trying to take it behind. Just
I think they'll catch it again, won't they? Yeah, just again caught by that, just a little bit too much weight.
Have they nudged the yellow out enough to get it fly at the double, maybe?
They might have, Kenny. It was trying to poke out the other side of that guard anyway, and they've certainly moved it another 3 inches or so. Don't see much of it, but it's whether you could take it over the top of that red. Italy have decided to. They'll maybe think there's a double on these two reds and be sitting line 3 and say, well, if you make your one now, no. They're going to have another shot at this anyway. So, still stones to come and options for both teams.
Amos Mosner just trying to nose hit, probably flop across. Yeah, really nice shot from the fourth player.
Yeah.
Samme. Okay. Tror du isen var grei?
So key shot here in this third end.
Yeah, this could certainly make scoring a 2 very difficult for Italy if Stefan manages to come right down and sit on this this yellow that's on the tee line. But we've seen so far that they've struggled to do that. That first the first draw in there is the one that's still there counting at this stage. They've struggled to get the weight in the line just quite right. So this is by no means an easy shot.
I'm not surprised they're maybe not playing the in turn, but they know the ice this way.
Yeah. Looking to be dead weight. They've got no margin for error here at all. Certainly at the minute looks like lots of room, but we've seen them, they draw quite a lot in the last few feet of running, so the sweepers are on it now, and this has the makings of a good looking shot.
Just tucked in the inside edge. I don't think there's enough room to get around that top guard and push the red through.
No, they've potentially taken the chance of anything more than 2 off the table, so they'll be quite happy with that, I would think.
Yeah, just going to force them to draw for 2.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if they hit the yellow full in the face. Would they be sitting to? I think they would be.
Yeah, they're going to need to come right onto the yellow, aren't they? They've got no. Yeah, it's going to be close, but I think they can get fully. I think they can get fully in the 4 foot there and count 2. Yeah, it's been it's quite an attacking end to curling, and we've seen some good shots, but we've seen some half shots that have just that no one's pounced. We were talking about this in the earlier game. If you get an opportunity at this level, you have to be then making your next shot. You know, you have to punish the mistakes, and that hasn't happened. You know, we saw Norway make a mistake, and then Italy just kind of made the same mistake back again. So they have to be sharper. But that's a good score of 2 for Italy. They'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, it could have been a lot more for the Italians, but they'll be happy they've scored their 2 with the last stone advantage.
Yeah, that was a real saver by Stefan Walstad there. He'd obviously not played such a great shot with his first one, so to come back and play a good saver there to make sure the score was no more than 2.
Yeah, you see it on the scoreboard. Blank first end. Walstad taking the single in the second, and Joel Retornaz on his side picking up 2 in the third. So it's 2-1 to Retornaz after 3 ends. The other A-Road semi-final between Nicholas Edin and Gigi Schnittel is all tied after 2 ends. Edin scored a 1 in the first end, and also Schnittel scored a single point in the second.
Yeah, that's not a high-scoring encounter just yet, but there's a long way to go there. They've got a lot of stones in play in this end, certainly, so be interesting to see how that shapes up. we're off and running in the fourth end. They haven't wasted too much time in between the ends, which is good. Keeps everybody's concentration going.
Yeah, so Italy with the lead now, just trying to dictate the play, bringing the stones into the house.
Yeah, I think back on the odd ends, I think they'll, I know they're in the even ends, they'll be trying to, you know, they might be interested in making a wee steal here to score on the even end. So that stone is ideally positioned there, top of the forefoot. Walstad, Team Norway are ignoring it at the moment and throwing their corner, so it gives Italy a chance to throw up a guard this time and maybe try and protect that and build towards stealing at the end of the end.
Yeah, so pretty standard set-up play from what you'd expect to see.
Yeah, Alan and I talked about that in the previous game as well, Kenny. We were saying that, you know, sometimes the free guard zone rule, the 4-rock, it can be a bit formulaic, can't it? You know, the ends often look very much like the end before, and you know, and sometimes you need one of the skips to throw a wee curveball and make a call that you don't expect, just to change things around, and it actually then gets in the head of the other skip, because they're thinking, well, I do this, they're meant to do that, we do this, they do that, you know. And when something out of the ordinary comes along, that's when you see things maybe shape up, and you know, sometimes it's worth taking a wee half chance on a call that's maybe not straight out of the standard tactics book. That half guard gives Norway the chance to come after this yellow on the tee line, the centre line, I should say. But I think this is a little bit too much weight again.
He's put a lot of weight, but he's hung around on the centre.
It will be open, and I think we'll see. Yeah, Italy will come down with probably a similar style of shot. I wouldn't be surprised if they play a little less weight than the Norwegian player there, and just try and flop in behind the guard. It looks fairly similar for weight, doesn't it?
Just probably going to sneak out the other side, though.
Yeah, the amount of movement there just caught them at the end. They weren't expecting that, and that's when the stones are curling. It's in the last sort of third that the big draw comes, and they just maybe weren't ready for it there.
Yeah, you see it moving towards the centre line quite aggressively. Certainly most of the pool is after the hog line.
Yeah.
What I have noticed is every single player is right on top of the hog line.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, we don't have hog line judges here. We haven't had for a number of years, and it's a long time since anyone patrolled the lines, and we don't have the luxury of the light up handles that you see at the championships. So it's really, what can you do as an opposing player or opposing team? You're almost as well just not to look, because it can get in your head if you think someone's sneaking over the line and you can't really do anything about it. And I think, yeah, you're best just to ignore the fact. But it is annoying when it happens against you, isn't it?
Yeah. This one's cutting as well.
Yeah, same thing again, just a little bit too much curl at the end, and they've lost that out behind the guard. But Norway potentially ignoring it this time and trying to make something of the guards, which I think is quite sensible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got to go around the centre. You can't afford to go around the corner.
And on swinging ice, it is difficult to get the exact roll that you're looking for, because you leave it to curl 1 inch more and then it's lost to you. So this allows you to get behind the guard with the draw, and then deal with that yellow stone at a later date. they're trying to encourage this one to draw. Certainly, it's not taking the big pull yet. Although the weights looks really nice, and it's certainly drawing now. But nice stone, couple of feet shorter than they would have hoped. Now Italy have a decision to make. Do they come right round? Do they try the raise? It's well, they're trying hard to get the attention of their front end, who clearly were maybe not quite paying as much attention as they should have. So it's a long. The yellow guard's a long way out if they choose to go for the raise, and if they miss it, then they're gonna almost definitely be facing two with their next shot. So this is it's a decision point for Italy, isn't it? You know, they could draw around. There's probably enough draw to get behind that red, but they're going for the run back. Just asking for a little more ice. I think by the time he got down the other end, it maybe just a different look at it, and off he goes with this one. Whoa! Yeah, I think he maybe sprung the handle on a little bit there, and that's the worst possible result for him, for sure.
Yeah, peeling out his own one in the house is not what you want to do.
I think he just pinged the handle on a little bit there, Kenny. There was a whoa straight away, although the sweeper was wanting to sweep, so he maybe thought he was going to be inside, but he probably put it inside to out, and a really poor result there. So advantage Norway.
Magnus Højbjerg just being asked to draw around the corner guard.
Yeah, the sweepers think this is all there. They're not wanting to help it at all, and it's still moving at quite a pace. This again, this is another example of maybe not taking the opportunity that was gifted to them, and that's almost incredibly right through the house.
Yeah, big miss. Can't really afford to do that, especially when you're chasing the game.
No, and I mean, they had the ideal setup there. The corner guard to come round there. Line 2 was really perfect. They've now given Italy the chance of the hit and roll behind the guard, but the sweepers are. He hasn't made the same mistake with his handle this time, and the sweepers are having to work really hard. They're not going to be going anywhere near behind the guard, no. So chasing the roll again here, so the stone's sneaking towards the front of the house, top of the house. They'll need to be careful to make sure that they actually end up staying in the rings.
Oh, rent. Yep. Hard.
Much quieter weight, and got a nice roll there. I don't know if it's right in behind. I think Italy will see it, and by the looks of things, it might be wholly open, and they're gonna look to roll away.
Yeah, pull that play right away from the corner guard. Don't want to get involved with it. Just looking at the position of that corner guard, it's quite long.
Yeah.
And if you do get fully in behind, you're only just in the 12 foot.
Yeah, certainly. I think they would have wanted it perhaps 6 inches nearer the centre line, and definitely a couple of feet further on. But I suppose at least it's in play. It's almost come into play. They had the opportunity to use it with their draw and didn't take it, but this is drawing a little more than they expected. I don't think they'll be fully rolling away. No, it's good. Yeah, that's exactly where they want it to be. So I guess the discussion for Norway is, do they go behind the corner or do they hit this one? And they've elected to hit the yellow.
Yeah, I think that's probably a sensible call, to be honest. Don't need to go pushing the game too hard in this fourth end.
I guess if we, like we were saying, if that red guard had been in the ideal position, they may have felt a little more comfortable with using it. But even if they were perfectly well behind, they were probably still going to give Italy the chance to come round and tap them back.
Yeah, I think if it had been the sixth end, they might have had a go.
Rent! Yep! Whoa, 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 whoa! Rent! Yep! Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah, that'll suit them quite nicely. It was a nice steady takeout there, obviously well thrown, and the sweepers were only slightly involved, so there was no panic there at all. That's got to be a wee steadier.
Det er fint å få en blank til I kampen da. Det liksom sånn som nå, hvis vi har tatt en begge to.
So Italy are definitely looking to roll back towards the centre line, the opposite corner guard. Sorry, they've not taken an awful lot of ice, but it's not needing any sweeping. So I think
it's just rolled out of play.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just see this end blank now. Throw through from Team Norway.
Yeah, fairly disappointing and flat outcome to the end. Really, it was looking like it was shaping up a little bit there for a while, but a couple of mistakes and then we've got the blank end scenario. Coming down here at quite a takeout, obviously takeout weight checking the 4-foot line on the other side there just to see how much movement or otherwise there is. So we will race onwards to the fifth end. Nicholas Eden has taken a 2 in the third end of the game over there, so he leads 3-1. And De Cruz and Smith are tied at 2-all. And then is it Ulsrud and Ramsfell in the last of the semis? That's 3-0 to Ulsrud after 3 ends. So I guess maybe against the younger team that's maybe expected. So Italy throw first again in the fifth end. Daniel getting the play underway.
1-0.
Sweepers on it straight away. They don't. They think. Oh, and actually, they didn't think it was even going to make it over the hog line, so they've pushed that one to the barriers and
saved their energy for another stone.
Yeah. I guess they didn't want a guard just over the hog line.
Yeah, so again, gives Norway a nice chance to throw up the corner guard with no pressure on it at all. Yeah, would have liked that maybe a couple of feet further forward. Yep.
I don't think Again, I don't think they've taken full advantage of getting a free shot at the corner there. That would have been a little bit better, a couple of feet further up, I think.
Due! Linea buona! Due meno! Ma buono, due più! Due più! Hard! Hard, continua così! Hard! Continua, continua! Hard! Hard!
So it really has forced the Italians into throwing the tight centre guard.
Yeah, which they've done quite successfully there.
I just run through the scoreboard of the few Sea Road games out there as well, which is Hess is 3-2 up on Cameron McNay after 4 ends, and the game between Fraser Hare and Stuart Taylor. It's Taylor who stole a 1 in the 3rd end to lead 1-0. Rasmus Stegerna against Kubiska, sorry. It's Sterna who is 3-2 ahead.
Yeah, I think that'll be quite a tight game, won't it? Oh, looks like Smith's taking another 2. So they're trading 2s quite successfully there, Smith and De Cruz.
Yeah, some really tough matchups out there. Most of these teams fully in preparation for going to the Olympics.
We're trying a run back here.
Whoa, rolling!
Oh, well, great shot. But
Nicely done.
in doing that, what he has done is he's left a couple of stones out front, and they're offset, they're staggered as well. As we take a look at the run back once more, just catches this one on the inside of the nose, makes both reds go away, rolls the yellow to the centre.
To be fair, he's maybe quite happy with that, having, not having last stone. He's got a bit of cover there over the centre line. If he gets a chance to get round there, he'll be quite happy. But Walstad, seeing the danger of that, has decided to go round first. So I guess it's a race to see who gets the best position. And that's a little shorter than they would have liked, so there's certainly room for Italy to get round again.
Yeah, so they're just going to ignore that red top of the 12 foot.
Yeah, which I think they have to. I mean,
yeah, they can't see any of it from the opposite end.
You know, the guards, with them being they're covering each other. There's no raise opportunity, so this is the only option really. Sweepers are quite comfortable with the weight. They certainly don't think it's needing help from them, and potentially it's going to come deep, Kenny, and this is not where they wanted it.
Well, not where they wanted it, but it's deep enough, let's say.
Yeah. I suppose it's bad enough. So I think even my rudimentary Norwegian would say that he wants it top button there.
Yes.
And they're certainly on this early. Sweepers are not confident that it's got the weight that they were looking for, so they're working really hard, and that's going to be in danger of that front. No, it's going to miss the guard, but it's certainly it's not improved the situation for Norway.
Certainly hasn't. It's if anything, that's helped the Italians.
Yeah.
Ja.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were discussing the stones earlier and whether some move a little bit more than others and perhaps a little bit slower, but really depends what order they're throwing them in, because we weren't having a question over the second stones in the red sheet, so maybe they've moved them around. We did think that maybe 5 and 6 were moving a little more, but it's really difficult to say when you've got different people throwing them all the time, isn't it? Because you know the release plays such a big part in how the stones react.
Absolutely. These teams not getting like a 10-minute practice they would at like a major championships to decide, you know, what are the stones are, what stones are matched best together.
Yeah, they've just you're almost as well just to play them their numbers the first few ends and try and suss out any issues for yourselves. There's maybe a bit of chat between the teams. I don't know. I mean, if you thought you had insider info, you're not gonna tell your competitors that, well, you know, that number 3 moves a little bit more than number 1. You know?
I don't know. I always maybe just said if you threw a few curveballs to annoy some people.
Yeah, Kenny, we're not talking about telling out and out fibs. Yeah, you could play with someone's mind, couldn't you? By, do you think that drew a little bit more than it should have? And yeah, I think the men's tour is much more. There's much more of that goes on than the ladies. There's a lot of that goes on in Perth Super League. There's a lot of guards up. I don't think they can get rid of them all, can they?
I don't think they can get rid of them all, but which one, how do you peel these? That's really the call. The Italians have got 2 deep round behind the centre guard. You play the draw round, miss it, you really are facing a steal. So, into third stones. So
sometimes you wonder, is it too late though? You know, should they have gone a stone earlier if they were going to be ripping these guards? If you're, you know, when do you bail? Is it the third stones or was it that last second stone?
Yeah, so he's trying to drive the centre. Might be tempted to try and slash the centre red in, catch the red that's the centre. Centre yellow in onto the red, the left hand of the side, so the left hand side of the centre line, back into the ones in the house.
Well,
and that's
achieved
danger.
Nothing really.
Yeah. That's why the centre one was the danger stone. That one that was off the centre wasn't really a danger stone.
No, I think you're right. I think they had a couple of options, didn't they, going the other way? They could have driven it right back, or even if they'd caught something that was going to bounce, but given themselves even space to use that red the next time, if they'd opened the centre red.
Yeah, if the Italians could ever swing one round into the top of the 4 foot now, they're looking good to pick up a steal.
You've got to think so. And they've now had two tries at this. They know the ice. They've just got to get their weight a little bit better. You know, they've been back tee, but they're on this one fairly early. They can't be thinking it's heavy for weight, but it's certainly drawing. I think they've missed an opportunity again, Kenny.
Absolutely, they really needed to apply some pressure with that one.
That can't be where he wanted it.
No, it's certainly not.
Yeah, I think we can tell by Joel's reaction there that that's an opportunity missed. And what does Walstad think? Does he think he can see enough of that to maybe drive that red, end up driving it in, or it certainly gives him the chance maybe to clear a few more, but now he's decided that there are too many guards he's got to come round.
I think that's all he's got, really.
To be fair, there's still room to get 2 in there and score a 2.
Yeah.
you know, it's not maybe standard practice. You know, as we were saying, coming round the centre, when you've got last stone, you want to keep the play away from there. But when there are so many guards in play, you have to at some point say, well, that's it. I can't do much by clearing any of these guards. I've got to chase the play round the centre.
Hold i gang! Bare fart! Linja grei! 6!
Well, they're thinking good weight. They're calling a 6, so that would be
Bare fart! 6!
top of the tee, I should
Linja
think.
bra! Det køl nå?
Yeah, line looks pretty big though at the moment.
Yeah, I think, and a weight looks fully there, doesn't it? I think that we've seen that. You know, it's been the case on the releases by Marcus that he maybe does square them a little more than some of the other players. He's always been on the high side on that hand, and although that's not a bad shot at all. It's ended up, it's done its job, but it probably could have been a little bit better. It gives Italy the chance to come down and sit on it.
Yeah, you could probably get to the inside of nose if you really wanted to with the correct weight.
Yeah. Look, with that, it looks like with that ice that they're just playing the dead draw tee weight, but again, it really depends. If he puts on a ½ pound too much here, then it's going to hang out, and Norway will get the chance to come round again. But we'll see how Amos does with this one.
Linja! Oh! Linja buona! Jump, linja! Oh!
Staying off it for line at the moment.
Yeah, I think again it's there. It's fully there for weight, Kenny, isn't it? And oh.
Well, is it there for 2? I think it's red. It's maybe sitting 1.
Yeah, I would say red's lying short. And I guess the question is, do they choose to protect that side? I don't think there's an awful lot can happen down that side now, but can they get in off the other handle to lie to safely? We need to see the angles a little bit, don't we? Yeah, there's a lot of room there. That the short red top of the house could always be used later on in the end, couldn't it? Well, we're either at the late stages, but he may wish to use that for his second shot.
Ligger garden noe?
They're thinking of throwing the guard. It would have. Just I think that there must be a draw around that other hand. You know, you've got half the button, which is a big button now.
That's why I'd be tempted to play a little bit of right weight and just play the background weight. Push that red that's top 12 down into the yellow.
Yeah.
Even if you open it up, it's going to come after you. You're just going to come down and score your single. Everything's back of tee then.
Yeah, give yourself a little room for your next shot. He throws a guard here, depending what Italy do. He could have no shot to score his second stone.
Even if you have to be really unlucky to pick your red out, so why not just drop the weight to tap weight? Even if you catch it full in the face, you're still sitting short.
Yeah, you daren't throw too much weight, because that is the risk, isn't it? You nick that red out of there, and that would be a disaster. But that's the hand they're coming down, so it'll be interesting to. I think with that ice, they can't be playing a draw at it. So whether they're playing a sort of back ring tap, I don't think that's a bad call, because if they catch it high and they push it over on top of the yellow, it stops Italy using the yellow, and it potentially stops Italy making the draw down the same hand that they're using now.
Yeah. It's a good chance for Stefan Walstad to score a couple.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. He's not got. I don't think he'll have a straightforward last stone, but it really does depend what he does with this one. But I think they're going to have to watch this. This will start to move. Look at it go now.
Yeah, they're just actually throwing the guard off the other handle.
Okay. Well, it's probably exactly where he wanted it, but time will tell whether that was the correct call.
Jeg mener det. Jeg skjønner ikke hvorfor de er usikker, for jeg følte det var nok så klart.
Yeah, Italy guard up now. Where does Stefan score his second counter from? I think.
All he's got is the tap, really, isn't he, on that red stone? Potentially could come down battering weight, catch the short yellow onto the red and tap it in, but you run the risk of messing things up, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, the guard that Stefan has just thrown there is quite long, but we were seeing that, weren't we? The further you went out, you maybe got you hit a bit of straight ice and it doesn't come in. You've thrown battering weight, so there's no coming back for you, and you end up giving him a shot for two. I think this is probably the sensible call. It's probably a little bit disappointing for Italy not to be looking at trying to force the steal here, because they were in command of this end. They got the mistakes from Norway and they just needed something in front of the tee, and Joel's short played draw there was the issue, I think.
Yeah.
Is this overdrawing a little on them, or is it going to? No, it's worked out pretty well. That stops Stefan using that short red there, so he's been forced fairly wide. But you know, the draw probably is still there, Kenny, but it'll need to be inch perfect.
Yeah, the Grutton, just having a look at the centre there just to see if he could play the tap, but looking at that long yellow, yeah, certainly I think the draw to the buttons there, no real risk.
No, I guess as soon as you start throwing a bit of weight and trying to tap one of these front ones off, front ones in, you're running the risk of chipping your own one off or moving that yellow at all. It doesn't need to be moved much for it to take shot position.
Ja, jeg tror akkurat, men det greit å få litt hjelp. Men tenk oss om fart. 14,5. Ja.
The last couple ends have certainly been a lot to think about for both teams, so they'll maybe need to, at just over 11 minutes left for, they've probably still got plenty of time, but it might become a concern for Norway.
Yeah, this one's just not pulling.
No. Good weight, and I guess they had to, absolutely perfect weight. They had to give it enough ice that they thought they were going to get by. There was nothing, no prizes there for catching the guards, but possibly just 6 inches too much.
Yeah, I'm going to see the measure on this one.
Yeah.
So let's see if we're right. We think it's the red stone, the back of the button.
It's difficult, isn't it? Often the colour of the handle makes the stone look bigger, doesn't it? The red one, and you think that's closer. So, and you've got to be right ahead, right above it to make a good informed decision. So we'll see. Still going with red.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's happening on the other sheets while we have this measure break?
Yeah, so Edin Schnittl, they're tied at 3-3 after 4 ends. Hess is 1-0 up on Mowat after 4 ends. De Cruz, he trails Smith 5-2 after 5 ends, I think.
Well, that was a nice wee steal then for Team Smith if they snuck a 1 there in the 4th end. Difficult to see. I think they've got a brush hanging up over the scoreboard, so we may well be misled by that, but Ulsrud and Ramsfell, I think perhaps the the older heads, the bit more experience is telling here, and they are 5-0 up against Ramsfell.
Yeah, it doesn't even touch the dial there, and it's quite easily the Redstone, so we're right.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Good to know that our eyesight's not failing us quite yet.
So that's the game tied at 2 through 5 ends. Probably the Italians will be the happier of the sides going into the latter part of this game.
Yeah, I think they made a big mistake in that end, which allowed it to be a score for Walstad. But they certainly managed to force. They're not going to be too upset about that, and they. There'll need to be a little bit sharper play from both sides down this last 4 ends. 3 ends. So we've got a long centre-ish guard there, so the Walstad's obviously thinking that he might have to throw 2 centres, so he's gone for the long one first. It's overdrawn a little, but it's probably good enough, Kenny.
Yeah, I expect the Walstad will really go hard to steal one here or force.
Yeah, I think on an A10 game, 6th is really a crucial end, isn't it? You have to really keep your wits about you and keep the concentration up, and giving up a silly score here is really telling. That's a nice corner from Italy, I would say. It's probably in just about the perfect position for a corner guard. And Walstad, as we thought, will throw the second centre.
Linje bra. Markus nærmest. Langt og faren.
Yeah, they would want a little bit more separation, I think, between those stones. And, yeah, they would have wanted that a good 6 feet further on, I think. Don't seem entirely happy. You know, I can't understand exactly what they're saying, but their body language and it doesn't look like they're feeling entirely comfortable with the stones or the weight or something. They're just not looking as they often do, quite relaxed.
Yeah, not just erring on the wrong side of things, just not confident when they're putting the brush down to know exactly where the stone's going to end up. That's a nice draw, though.
Having thrown the corner, they're now electing to come round the 2 centres, I think, which is fair enough. The long guards, they couldn't get round their own corner guard other than coming round the outside, so they've taken the play into the centre, and we'll see how that pans out. It's possibly a little shorter than they would have wanted.
Rent. 8, 7. Linje bra. Helt sikker. 8. Bare fart. 8, 9. Ja da.
And this one's it's got plenty weight.
It's all right, though.
Yeah. Just slipped behind the T-line there, so Italy can't come onto it, but I don't think this end is shaping up exactly as Italy would have chosen, and I think yeah, they've got to try to move something. But with so many short guards on, it'll be interesting to see how they react here, and whether that yellow guard is going to be moved or come into play at all.
Hey!
Yeah, and they were on that straight away. I don't think. Yeah.
Does open up the centre.
Which I guess at this stage, you know, they can't be too worried about that red stone sitting back of the tee. They're going to get a chance to make a play on that later in the end, but wasn't exactly what they wanted, taking their own stone off. But as you say, it opens the centre and gives them a chance.
Linja bra. 2-0. Linja bra. 2. Linja perfekt. Kort toer. Japp.
Yeah, so covers centre.
Long guard again, but
Così.
Con 2 ridere perfetti alla nostra, da questa. Vedrai la nostra era.
yeah, is he choosing to chase the stone in the house this time? That's quite an unusual call. I would have thought, I would have expected him to peel the guard again, Kenny.
Yeah, certainly.
To be fair, I think he's maybe going to get that by default.
No, he's not.
That's the worst result there. Yeah, that's a danger with playing the down weight to chase the one in the house. I don't think that with last stone, no, not convinced by that call, and certainly by the time there was any danger of it touching that guard, he should have been making sure it was catching enough of the guard to move it off the centre line.
Yeah, that's maybe where both these sides are a little bit shy with their experience and knowledge of the game at the top level. Like your Ulsrud, your Deans, that are here this weekend, they probably wouldn't have made that error.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Now we've got, you know, there's no choice now for Italy. They have to try and move something, but they're not gonna be able to move all of these guards.
Okay.
They're going to end up, I would have thought that their played stone, well, be interesting to see how they are very flat. It's all, you know, they might bounce off the yellow on the way through. It's where it goes after it. It's there, but yeah.
Yeah, you could get a few moving with this one if you just catch it right.
I guess it's all about the angles, isn't it? And it's all about where the shooter ends up.
Whoa! Whoa! Faccio! Whoa! Whoa! Faccio la gialla, Danda.
Yeah.
E Karimi che fai così. Non era possibile.
Doesn't get a good result. Spins one down in.
Yeah. I thought this shooter was kind of bound to stay, but maybe just caught too thick, needed a bit thinner to get a bit more action, and maybe it might have spun back up and out of the way, but it's not looking good for Italy at the moment. They're looking like at best being forced.
Yeah. You kind of knew that there was always going to be a red springing down if you caught that on the inside, so that's why you had to catch it pretty thin.
Magnus, bare gå.
This is
Bare Magnus.
probably wider than they would have hoped. So again, we've seen mistakes, but
he's covered the right side, don't worry.
Yeah, you can't make the double off it. I think he'd have to play the yellow in, free up that centre line.
It's pretty tight there.
Doesn't look like a huge hole, does it? I mean, I guess if they catch the high side and roll behind the red, then it does make it difficult for Walstad to come after them. But it's not straightforward by any manner of means. So I think it'll be a hack weight maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot afford to be on the high side with this. If anything, be the low side.
Yeah,
catch the centre guard.
That looks bigger than hack. I don't.
That's a lot of weight. He's on the high. He is on the high red at the moment. He's got a long way to move.
It's coming now, Kenny. It's coming now, but is it going to come enough for him? He's missed that one, but he's caught the.
Well, he gets a little bit lucky there, to be honest, to sit second shot.
Yeah, he'll be second shot, but if he was going to catch anything, he had to, as you say, had to catch that centre guard to put pressure on. He's now going to be facing a stone in the 4-foot double guarded. His own stone is behind cover, which is useful. But he's got, you know, with all 3 guards out there, this is going to be double guarded. What's he going to play? And I don't think he can see enough of the inside of the high red there to be able to make a double off that one. He could certainly make a hit and roll.
Yeah.
And Walstad can't cover both of them, so you would have to think that he's either he's throwing the guard in the hole. Because I guess he would want to come in. He would want to be putting another stone in the top of the 4-foot, but he can't get there.
I think he can get there with this. I think he threw this one right in.
Do you think he can come through that between the red and the yellow though with the draw we're seeing?
Yeah, I think he can. You're going to be a little bit tight to the yellow that's short of the house on the left hand side, but I think you can get into the top of the 8-foot at least.
Well, we'll see. I think he chose the guard.
Yeah, he definitely chose the guard, but I think the call would be.
You think he maybe should have been a little braver?
Yeah. Maybe half a stone more rotation on the stone. You'll get it. You get it to where you want it.
Well, has he accomplished anything by that stone? I suppose he has, but not a great deal. You can see by the reaction of himself and Skipper there that that's not what he wanted at all.
Yeah, just 2 inches to the left would have been perfect.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's got to try this again. I think less weight.
Yeah.
Clearly they're taking more ice, and he's got to drop his weight and see how this works out for them. But at the moment, if he can nudge that back a little bit, then he could still be on for scoring a 2.
Yeah, into the skip stones in this 6th end, and it's almost.
Oh, this is the sweepers are calling this as big.
Oh, he's tapping the red in, Murray.
I think he's on the wide side again, isn't he? Oh my lord.
Wow.
That's incredible, and not incredibly good. Yeah. Yeah, that yellow stone has not only tapped in the red, but it's actually rolled slightly to block up any chance that Italy have of getting in here. I mean, Amos throwing last stones is never going to get anywhere with that, and you can't see that. You know, his own yellow is under cover, so I guess the good thing is that Walstad's not going to make a play on that to line 4, I shouldn't think. He's got to try and protect coming down, but that was...
it's very tight to go after that yellow, there's no real need.
Yeah.
Probably could come round the high side if you'd wanted to, but
yeah.
I think that's maybe what we might see from Italy with the last. I wouldn't like to be playing it.
No. At the moment, you would choose to be throwing red stones if you had the choice. This is. We were saying the 6th end is crucial, and I think maybe Italy have just had a wee lapse in concentration, or they've certainly thrown a couple of poorly executed shots there on the end turn.
Well, this one doesn't look light.
Whoa!
Sweepers are right back off it, aren't they? They're, oh my word, as you say, this is...
Well, missed opportunity.
Yeah, there was...
it was nearly bat ring weight.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure to be applied there, and it really... It hasn't been, but what does... what do Italy do? Do they...
No, questo non mi dispiace.
Slash it and try and maybe give up one. I think that'd be the...
Has it given them an angle at all? It's such a shame that he tapped up the other red there, because you know, he could have had the long raise to lie 2, but this is yeah, he wants to give up just one, but giving up the one would be no disaster. You know, they'd be then looking to blank the next end and retain last stone for the 8th end and hope to score their 2. But they really don't want to give up more than one. I guess this is fairly safe. They're not going to, you know, I don't think they can get to their own yellow to take it out, really.
Yeah, he'd have to be really tight on his own guard. This was not hanging around.
No.
Wasn't far away from it.
No, that was a good effort. It was certainly lots of weight. I don't think he could have caught much less. It didn't look like it caught much of the stone there. So a good effort, but yeah, one away. And now they have to really hope they can blank this end.
Yeah, so scoreboard, it's Walstad now leading 3-2 after 6 ends. Stealing 1 in the 6th. The difference between the two sides at the moment.
Yeah, Retornaz has they're the only ones to have scored a 2, but these 3 1s are certainly counting against them at the moment, so we'll see. I guess Walstad will be doing everything that they can to force the issue here and make sure that they're getting last stone again in the 8th end. There was you know, why were they sweeping that so furiously to get it an inch in the house? That's not where they wanted it.
Yeah, so Joel Retornaz thinking about just trying to blank this end now.
Yeah, and that's made a little bit easier for him by that stone being dragged in by an inch, which allows his lead player to hit it. If they'd okay, I fully accept that they didn't want a guard, but it would have been better for them, an inch less sweeping and Italy not having the opportunity to hit this stone.
Hard!
This is curling a little on them.
Ja, bra.
Yeah,
Klassiker puttanate.
that's not what they wanted either.
Klassiker
No.
puttanate.
But
Klassiker puttanate.
makes for an exciting end of curling, though.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly does. It
Ja,
puts the tactic book out the window, and we'll see more stones in play than we thought potentially.
Magnus Varberg
Kom!
for
Den är grej!
Team Walstad, the lead player.
Är det köla?
Just trying to draw around this centre guard. Apply a bit of pressure to
Yeah, it's
Joel
moving a
Retornaz,
bit now,
yeah.
isn't it? It's certainly, once the weight comes off these stones, they go a long way.
Spill.
It's a nice stone.
Jeg så vet du er bare med, men ja, greit.
Joel's lead can hit his own stone, of course, in the free guard zone, so he can play the raise onto the red there. Daniel's first hit wasn't quite what he hoped, but this has certainly got more weight behind it. Drawing perhaps a little more than they wanted again, but no, he's made that raise take out quite successfully. He's left his guard, and the stone is open, so Walstad will have the chance to hit and roll behind it though.
Fem!
Rent.
11!
Ja.
Fart!
Hard.
Hard!
Hard. Hold. Egen. Hold. Det er bra. Perfekt.
Yeah, it doesn't make the roll
11-1.
fully across, but covers the inside edge enough to force the challenge to drive the guard back.
Yeah, I think the guards are not what he wants. They're not going to be his friends in this end, and I'm sure even if he doesn't make the run back, that he'll be quite happy if he clears the guard, takes that danger away, and hopes that at some point he'll have a double on the stones in the house. Must be close, the swooping's on and off, so yeah, perfect. And rolls away, so that's we're back into the position where we might get a blank end.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't expect the teams to be hanging around too much. They'll just try and play through this end. Both sides got plenty of time on the clocks.
Yeah, lots of time.
Hard!
We're working hard here on Magnus's stone, but
Ja, løs.
that's good
Det var
enough.
altså dobbelt, men den så løs ut. Jeg fikk ikke tida, men den så løs ut.
Ja. David!
Another nose hit required here potentially.
Hey! Clean!
Yeah, just going through the motions now. I'd like to have hung around with that
I
one,
think
yeah.
so. Yeah, that's it's not ideal. Let's Walstad throw a guard. So again, a couple of mistakes just sneaking in, isn't there? Half shots. By this stage in the competition, we'd be expecting to see,
Ok, slipp han da, hvilke energard
I
egentlig.
think, fewer mistakes than we're seeing at
Eller
the
slipp
moment.
han hvis den er høy.
To fint.
It's quite a bit shorter than they were expecting. And they didn't work too hard at making sure that was over the line. They didn't want a long guard there, but yeah, I am a little bit surprised by the number of mistakes.
Linja buona! Linja buona!
Linea buona. Linea perfetta, peace. Vicin, peace. Vai, peace, vicin. Sta vicin, peace.
Going for the draw, but they had to. The sweepers had to work pretty hard on that to make sure it was there.
Håll igång! Håll igång! Yep. Yep. Spel.
It's okay, they're going to get the roll back to the centre.
Ja, jag vet. Det var bara mental collapse.
And Italy want the roll to the wing, so it's cat and mouse, isn't it? One wants the centre, one wants the wing. It's
Oh. Yep. Yep, yep.
initial call was whoa there, and then yes, so you've got to think that looked like he was going to maybe be putting it out, but ended up on line for the brush. But that was again the other side of the stone than they were looking to hit, so not perfect by any matter of means, but did its job.
Nej. Vad säger jag mot? Heller en mot uten närmare. Än att gambla då.
Have we got anything exciting to report from the other team, the other sheets?
Nothing too much going on out there.
Sterna has beaten Kubeska. Does that put Kubeska out of the tournament? Was that a C Road game?
Yeah, that's a C-Road game, so Stagiana moves on, keeps his chances alive. It's a long road back, especially on a Friday afternoon when you're looking to stay in the action and you're in the C Road.
Yeah.
Hey! Hide!
Down to the last few stones of this end, and although they're having to sweep, it's not any danger. I don't think we're gonna have another takeout. Walstad's last stone.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Hard. Helt in. Lite.
Yeah, they've managed to keep the stone in play, which I think was their concern there. They had to sweep reasonably hard on it, but Italy will be looking to hit and run from this one. But it's that tricky piece of ice that they've been struggling with, so it'll be interesting.
Hide. Yep. Hide. Yep. Okay. Clean.
But successfully done, and the blank end, and it's going to be everything being thrown at the last end.
Majorstadde.
So I think we'll definitely see a guard this time, won't we, from Walstad? They'll want to try and take the advantage, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a very interesting 8th end.
2-0. 3.
3, okay.
Passe.
Bra.
Yeah, they're going to be quite happy with that. That cuts the centre line. It gives them. They've come in close enough, I think, but Italy are going to go for the corner guard. Excuse me. Frog in my throat.
2. Linea buona. Buona 2.
Yeah, so they're thinking this is quite a long guard by the sounds of things. I would have thought they would have wanted it reasonably close to the house.
Okay. Bend on that. Sorry.
Yeah, a little shorter than they would have hoped, but Walstad are ignoring it and coming round the centre.
Linje bra. 2. Har plass.
No, I tell a lie there.
Linje bra, linje
They're trying to
perfekt.
throw the short guard.
Linje er helt perfekt.
Which they've done very well. I think the first one potentially wasn't as far up as they would have liked, but there's good separation between those two stones, and they'll be quite happy with that as an initial setup, I would think, Kenny.
Yeah, real good stone separation from Walstad. He's looking to close the game out here. Obviously, there is the option of going to an extra end.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a tricky one, isn't it? You know, as the team without last stone, if you elect to play a fairly open end, you leave yourself very exposed to one mistake, and you're losing the two. Where if you try and force the game and look for your steal, as long as you're not going crazy after it, then you maybe give yourself more of a chance. I don't know. I quite like the going after it a little bit. But
I don't know if I would have went double centre, to be honest.
yeah, they're committed now, aren't they? I might have come round after with my second stone, especially when the first one's in the position it's in.
Yeah.
Linje bra.
But, yeah.
Linje bra. 7. Rent. 8. Linje bra. Bare fart. Rent.
Oh, it's all there anyway, if they're thinking it's 6.
Japp. Langt ut barn. Hard.
Only just, I don't.
Helvete, altså.
Maybe their zones are slightly different, but I think 6 would have been slightly nearer the tee line.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Maybe just behind the tee line. Yeah, so just needed a couple of extra feet running, and the tap on the yellow wasn't there.
Yeah, now it definitely is. So that double guard may yet come back to cause him a problem or two.
Yeah, if they could ever just push the yellow onto the red, roll the shooting stone out to the wing.
Yeah, he's coming at this with a little bit of weight. Certainly, I would say it looks fully barrier, and they're having to sweep quite hard. But they've got past the guards, and that's worked out quite nicely for them.
Vanlig.
Yeah. Walstad looking for the roll to centre. So long, it's still on second stones. Oof. Even bigger call
That's
now
on me.
going with a draw.
Well, I've never seen this tactic in a 8th end before.
No, I think I'm just checking. It is 3-2.
Mer plass.
They're only the one score up, and
Linje grei.
Yeah, just checking it is an extra end.
yeah, it would be an extra end,
Mer plass.
absolutely. So
Langt dere foran begge to. Må gjøre man.
this is a quite unusual call, I would have thought, but he's certainly made a good job of it. And their level, the Italians can't play off their yellow really, apart from for a hit and roll. And what do they do now? Do they start ripping the guards? I think.
Yeah, they've got to.
Non è tante.
You know, like we were saying, sometimes you can suck the opposition into playing something they wouldn't play by playing something ordinarily they don't expect you to play. And I think Joel's thinking he's going to come round here at a tap back weight, which is really not what he wants to be doing.
Sì, però Non giocherai adesso perché se non te diventa.
They've got the.
Se non te diventa, si già sempre larga.
They're going to have a discussion about it, and
Devi arrivare proprio giusto,
it would be strange if all four decided that coming down there at that back weight was a good call.
Era un caso nella guardia, questa discussione di guardia con il lì, non ero là anch'io, non è male.
Però bisogna tirare 12,
Sì, 12, sì.
Quindi non mi dispiace, l'importante è da vergere comunque.
Anche a 11 mi giuri, c'ha preso 11 chi?
Ma il problema è che non mi piace finarla e passare che sopra. Quello non mi piace per niente.
Se no, frischi però.
Beh, ma questo tiro, se giochiamo il 12 o il Veno da Vergine, insomma.
12 no, deve comunque.
Yeah, if only we had slightly better Italian, we would know what they were thinking.
Yeah, I think. Looking at this, they look as if they're calling the sort of hack weight to sneak past the top red.
Yeah, I don't think this is what I'd be playing, but it's yeah, maybe gives them options. It opens up that side slightly, but it doesn't do an awful lot to open it up. Doesn't have a great deal of weight. It's certainly moving.
If he's passed, he's really good though.
He's past that one.
Is he there enough to sit short? He has just. But that other yellow is wide open.
Yeah, and still all those guards out front. So it was a great shot. It was probably as good as he could make it. It was always going to bump that yellow into the open, wasn't it, Kenny?
Absolutely.
But I still think this situation, you've got to favour the team that's got the double guard on and are looking to force or steal.
Yep. Wall. Rent. Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard.
Oh, they've lost that from. Yep, should have been on that a bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just maybe a little bit nervous. If you jump on these ones early, though, they do hang straight.
Well, we were seeing that, weren't we, earlier with some of the stones there from Marcus Hoiberg just hanging out a little, and they were maybe thinking, okay, well, maybe they asked him for a little less weight than he'd been throwing, but it certainly moved more than they expected.
4-3. 4 secondi has dit.
Italy have no other choice but to come round these guards, I think. Although they could still have taken those guards. We're now at third's first stone, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even still you might have tried to move a guard.
Even a hit on the outside red to sit short wouldn't be a bad call right on the tee line. Because then you're really forcing Norway to draw around the guards. That's you kind of having a banker out wide, so that if you do have a chance, you've got a chance of scoring too.
You've got something to ping in maybe, or something. Yeah, you've got your counter. But where?
That was just pulled up short.
That's shy. Is it? I don't even think it outcounts the back red, so it's probably sitting third shot. That's not going to be good enough, Kenny.
Yeah, just to grab a piece of the button round the corner here. Doesn't need to be fully buried either.
This is really not how I thought the end would be shaping up, but we did think that it would be an interesting end, and it certainly is so far.
Yeah,
but
certainly.
Unusual. So we'll see. It's draw weight here.
7, 6, 7. Rent. Bare fart.
Japp, vi har linje! Vi har linje! Hard linje! Hard linje, viktig! Hard! Kom forbi, hard!
Is he past the top yellow?
Viktig, hard!
He's going to be close to it, but I think he is past Kenny. I think he's just about got the weight. Did that even maybe give it a wee rub, or do you think it was
I
past?
think it was clean past, but that's
Yeah.
a great shot. But he's back tee.
He is, and I think Joel can get at it from either hand.
4-3, freeze.
Yeah, come in the other hand.
Sì, no, le T-line, no. T-line 5-1.
Yeah, we see this one once again.
Stessa.
Great sweeping action from
50 schede fu.
the young Norwegian side.
Yeah, I mean, they had no choice. They knew it was there for weight, but they had no choice but to sweep that stone. They had to get it past that top yellow, which they did. This is a big shot here. Certainly could make the end a lot more comfortable for them if they can get a good corner freeze on this stone here. But got lots of room at the minute, and I think lots of weight, Kenny. This isn't gonna. Oh, and again, why did they not manage that better to take it onto the back one? That was a bad shot. It was a bad. It was
Bad call.
overthrown, and it was certainly badly managed.
Yeah, pure line call.
Yeah. This couldn't be more of an advantage to Norway currently.
På siden av rød der også. Nei, på gul. Så mer marginal der kort.
Enig i det.
Tenk oss...
Her og liksom så
Yeah,
ikke så lett
they've popped that red right behind the
jeg tenker
cover.
optimalt så bare tøkk oss en flikk der.
Ja.
Og så
Anywhere
tenker
really
helt ned og
beyond
hive inn opp igjen.
this
Nei, jeg
yellow
tenker at det er greit å ha den spillbar da.
Ja, ja.
would be nice.
Yeah, they don't want to come in too deep
No.
and give the opportunity to come down and tap them back to lie one, because
Skulle hatt mer. Det er som jeg har ikke lyst til å bli
at the
helt
moment,
der heller.
Italy would take a one quite happily, I think.
Der så det er bra.
Yeah, I think I'd be quite happy to take my one at this point.
Så er det så sykt mye mer marginal her, og hvis
Yeah,
han spiller den ned, så
each end has turned one way then the other, hasn't it? You know, there's been mistakes from both sides, and just when you thought that actually the double guard may harm Norway and the Retornaz team were going to have the advantage, it's not worked out that way. A couple of loose shots again, and maybe not the best of calls.
Har gitt mer is enn til der, så hang den ut da. Ja, det er ikke noe lett stein, og da kan vi bruke den her når den ligger kant til kant åpen. Begge to er grei, så lenge linja er grei, så bare
We always
snakk.
tried to avoid this kind of thing, chatting to the skip when he was, and that didn't look like it was an agreement kind of chat. That looked like something that there was doubts being voiced, and I think when your skip's sitting in the hack, that's never a good policy, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe just discussing the split time and
Maybe.
I've seen him through an intern down here in the sixth end that flew right to the back ring.
Again, this isn't.
Ren for de å små forbi!
It's not shy of weight, is it? I don't know what Magnus Negerton was saying to Stefan, but I don't think he intended to be back there.
No, he certainly didn't. And wow. Now, like you say, this one is probably going to swing the other way now.
Does he play that, or do you make your? Yeah, it's. Tempting for them. I would have thought if it had stopped maybe an inch, 2 inches higher. But I don't know. I'd be worried that you're not going to make your. You don't even make your one. You've got to move that back red, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to move the back red, but if you catch this half, 3/4 stone, you are pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to get your one, because the forefoot should be open on both hands.
Yeah. This is his first stone, of course, isn't it? Not his.
You play the draw and come up short, he guards it, you're
Yeah,
stuck
yeah. I'm
one
thinking.
side.
I'm
Yeah.
ahead of myself again. I was thinking this was last stone, but no. No, with this one, absolutely. And you're right. It potentially does ebb and flow back to the other.
Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Whoa.
I think he's a little bit of springy handle.
Yep.
Well, that's worked out very well for him.
Absolutely, yeah. Now you're forcing Norway to play a cold draw to the forefoot.
Da kommer han til å spille den hacken som han har spilt 2 ganger allerede. På den femmeren.
Well, you know, they know the draw in there. They've played it a few times. I think trying to sit on the back one, there's not much room for that, is there, after the... And then he just needs to throw a big weight. I think this is his only shot.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if Magnus Ned Grotten says anything to him when he's sitting in the hack this time. I'm not sure they were discussing split times.
No.
Beat T-line. Hvis det spiller samme fart, så er jeg for lang. Okay.
It's almost incredible. You would never have thought this was the situation we were going to be in.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect so many stones to be in play either.
No. You know, he played a saving draw early on in the game, and this is another situation where he's going to earn his keep potentially, but they certainly think that it's all there. Sweepers want to get involved a wee bit, but I think this looks. I think it looks heavy, Kenny, again.
As long as he's sitting short, he's going to force the Italians to play. It's just hung on.
Well, you know what? It's not over till it's over, and we may yet only get an extra end out of this. Why doesn't Italy come down the same hand, half a pound more weight, and they would tap that one back?
Yeah, even just
follow it.
just have a look at the angles. Yeah, anywhere inside though, Mari, you catch that half stone at 3/4. You've got enough counters hanging around elsewhere to get your 2.
Yeah, crowd not exactly on their feet, but
final stone of the 8th end.
And they're on it early.
Yeah, looking for around half stone.
Ooh.
Is this one looking?
What are they thinking? And
yeah, he's done enough.
Quite pleased
Great
with
shot.
It. Well,
yeah, score a 2 and take the win. It's a 4-3 win after 8 ends. So a very, very exciting final 8th end.
And quite an unusual, you know. Yeah, the tactics were strange, but Italy got it right. They left themselves a shot for 2 and made it. So all credit to them. Their good season rolls on, and that's them into the A final now.
Yeah, big surprise really. A bit of a shock result that I fully expected the Norwegians to close that game out. They looked to be in control, but they just took their foot off the gas.
Yeah, Stefan just struggled a little bit with his draw weight, didn't he? You know, he made a good draw early on, as I said, but those last couple of ends, excuse me, coughing, but that was really not good. The last 2 stones there from Stefan, but a good game. Closely contested with a few more blank ends than maybe we would have wanted for the spectators, but to the other ends there was always lots going on, so it was a good game and a good win for Retornaz. He's I don't know who he's going to. Does he come up against Ulsrud? I think was that the half of the draw. Ulsrud had a convincing win against the young Norwegian team of Ramsfjell. Smith and De Cruz are...
So Ulsrud will play Schnittel or Edin.
Oh, okay, that's right. We did know that.
It looks like it will be Walstad against Kyle Smith at this moment in time.
Yeah. Kyle's got a fairly comfortable lead at the moment at 7-4, playing the last end, and they're just starting that off, so we can't really see how that's going to go. But yeah, it was an interesting game, but yeah, dogged by mistakes. I think Retornaz is going to have to play better tomorrow to beat potentially Kyle Smith's team, who are on form and playing well. So hopefully that'll be a great game for the spectators.
Yeah, so that's it. That concludes the action from Friday here at the Perth Masters. So from Mari and myself, Kenny, thanks for listening.
Thank you.